Hey everybody, Matt here. Just a quick caveat before you listen to the podcast. This was recorded on Wednesday before the Bruins lost to the Sabres, embarrassing, and the Patriots won, which, has a lot of implications. There's still a ton of good content here, so I'm sure you're going to enjoy the listen. Thanks for tuning in.
What the hell are we doing here? I thought we cared about real championships, okay? If you care about a real championship, if you care about getting Banner 18 and moving back to the lead ahead of the Lakers, you want nothing to do with this garbage.
Welcome back to the Old Bull and Young Calf Boston Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and I'm here with my dad, Steve. And thanks for choosing to tune in. We have a lot of fun stuff planned for you guys today. My dad's going to help you prepare for the 5 segments we got. Dad, what do we got for him?
Oh, I got my big shot son here with his new microphone, thinking he's Howard Stern with his sharp new haircut.
Howard Stern thinks he's
Meanwhile,
me.
I have my $20 earbuds and speaker in the computer. Okay, show me up again. That's fine. But whatever. And we're going to touch on Jayden Daniels, his highlights. And we're also going to talk about who we would like to see slip to the Patriots in the second round, because guess what? They're going to have a really early second round picks, almost like having 2 first round picks, one at the end of the round. So we have our fingers crossed for a couple of players in mind. And then we're going to jump to the Celtics, bounce from the in-season tournament, how we feel about that. And we're going to, go over that. And then we're going to go to the Bruins who, the fire on the ice has started back up again. They're on a nice little 3-game winning streak. And we weren't too worried about them. And just like we thought, they are back on track. Then we have WilgsBasementBets. He's on a little bit of a streak here. He won again last week. So at the very least, you need to jump ahead and see who we picked this week. Only one lock. So he's sticking with the locks. He's got rid of the, little side bets, and he's doing much better. And then, of course, we're going to end it with the Frank the Tank Commander segment. See what teams we need to lose this week. And, it's reverse playoffs, right? Patriots playoff game tomorrow night against Pittsburgh. Get a root against them, and then, find out who the other teams are we need to root against and maximize that draft position. So let's go, Matt. Start us off.
All right. So segment number 1, and as my dad alluded to, we are going to touch on Jayden Daniels. This guy has really flown up the draft boards, and I think if you've been watching college football at all, you've heard this guy's name. I think he's the favorite for the Heisman right now, and I think my dad and I, after watching the highlights, probably would just both describe him the same way, and that's electric. This guy, his throws remind me of Michael Vick. His speed reminds me of Lamar Jackson, similar like Michael Vick in that kind of speed fashion. I absolutely love the highlights. We're gonna have the highlights playing here in a second. But before we get to that, let's talk about some metrics, right? He's 6'4", 210, so he's on the bit of the lighter side, but he's a very tall quarterback. I think one of the knocks on him is that he has slightly smaller hands, and people make a huge deal out of that with the quarterbacks, right? Gripping the ball, especially in the NFL, you want to make sure you can hold on to that. But his numbers are pretty impressive, and he's playing in the SEC. The best conference in college football. You can, if you're a college football fan and you think otherwise, then I don't think you know what you're talking about, because basically anybody who knows college, even listens to college football even a little bit, knows the SEC is where it's at, and he's playing there. And so a lot of respect there. And he put up some pretty monster numbers this season, and he's a dual threat. This year he ran for 1,100 yards. He passed for 3,800, 40 touchdowns throwing, only 4 interceptions, 10 rushing touchdowns. It was pretty awesome. He did lose to some, tough teams, Alabama, 42-28. He lost to FSU. Everyone feels they got robbed. He lost to them in the first week of the season, 45-24. But he beat Mizzou, 49-39. So he's a pretty big time highlight reel kind of player. Dad, before we get into the highlights and start watching him and talk about him, any comments on him?
Yeah, last week, Matt, off the air was kind of pumping his tires before we are talking about Drake May. And, he had this dream scenario where we can get Marvin Harrison Jr. with the first pick, and then Daniels, we can move up a little bit to get him. And I didn't see any film on Daniels, but I've been hearing the buzz lately, and I'm like, man, I don't think that's realistic. I heard he's creeping up the draft talk. And so today, I actually get to buckle down and see his highlight reel, and holy monkey bleep. Wow. I mean, Lamar Jackson when he runs, yep. When he throws, I mean, sure. I mean, he's got a cannon. He's got a cannon for an arm, and what I really liked is I don't know if it was just coincidence, but the highlight reel I saw on him was about 9 minutes long, and almost every throw he made was in such a tight window. So important in the NFL. So crucial. And his pocket, wasn't always huge either. It felt like he's dealing with an NFL sized pocket. That's big for me. I look for that as well. And I tell you, I was really impressed. We're going to compare him
Yeah.
to Caleb Williams and Drake May. So the segment we're going to do is next week we're going to touch on Caleb Williams, and then the week after that we're going to take everything we've learned about the three guys and let you know who our pick is and in what order. But I mean, I'm not going to hide it. Like, wow, this guy, how he's not lumped in with Drake May and Caleb Williams from the start is quite baffling.
Yeah.
But I guess he was kind of just good last year, and he had to transfer. He was in, I believe, Arizona where he struggled, but man, has he picked up steam. Like you said, I think 40 touchdown passes, 4 intercept. Like, look at these
Yep.
throws.
Yep.
Tight windows, perfectly thrown. And when he runs, it is a flash. So another tight throw.
Yep.
I mean, wow.
Yep.
I was hearing the buzz. I didn't quite,
Yep.
and then I sat down and watched, and I was, man.
Look at good pocket presence right
sold.
there, getting out of the way on the run. Like everyone's raving about Caleb.
Perfect.
Perfect. In stride, perfect. I mean, like, led that guy. He didn't have to change anything about his gait, like his running gait at all. And I think you touched on, Dad, the fact that, like, you don't know why he was not grouped with these guys from the jump. I think what I read is he had a lot of turnover worthy throws last year. He fixed that this year. I think it says a lot with the 4 interceptions. He also, what people knock him for is really not his fault. He's throwing to 2 very highly touted wide receivers. So one of them is the neighbor's
They're
kid.
not super open though.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. And
from a lot of throws
again,
I'm seeing.
Yep. So there's the neighbor's kid. He's a top 10 pick. And then there's the other guy, Thomas, Brian Thomas. I think that's him right there. Both great wide receivers. Yeah. So people are kind of knocking him for having, tools and weapons. And of course, we don't have those in New England. And that's why look at that. Like, he got absolutely trucked there. I think
I don't
other
like
people
that.
yeah.
I did not like that one bit.
Yeah. And I think that throw was so freaking good up the seam. That's what people were saying too. He has to learn, like Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray, to go down, right? You don't have to take every hit. We kind of had that knock on Drake May, but I think we're going to get one of his runs here soon. If this is it. I mean, this is Florida, everybody.
Go back like 2.5 minutes. Because we're talking over that one absolutely sick run. If you can go back to like 2.5 minutes.
Right here?
Right here. Look at this. Look. Dude, look at it. It's like everyone else is running at a completely different speed. Go back one more time.
Yeah.
It's like a grown triathlon adult playing with a bunch of little kids. Ready? Watch when he goes. See it. Look, everyone's just like slower. Like,
yep. It's like he's playing flag football. And he's just like, having fun with some kids. It's pretty impressive. And he's not playing. That's not against, I don't want to knock any, like Ball State, right? That's against Florida. Florida doesn't, they recruit, right? Tough competition. He's doing this against really good teams. And he effortlessly, I mean, that was, I don't know how far that ball was, but that was like a 45-yard ball. He's barely stepping into it, right? He doesn't have to change his spot. These design runs. Yeah, I'm super high on Jayden Daniels, and I don't want to drink the Kool-Aid too much, say something too reckless, but hot take. I wouldn't mind, finding a way to, if Belichick was going to be our GM going forward, which I hope isn't the case. If he does his patented trading down, I hope he trades down to get this guy and get a mid first rounder or another early second rounder or something, package up and get one of these wide, and get a really good wide receiver to pair with him, because this guy's got talent. That's of course, kind of sketchy, but yeah, like my dad said, right on the money, drop it in the bucket.
Right, holy cow. That last throw. Wow.
Look at this.
No
Gone.
room there, and he just fit it in.
Nobody's catching him.
Yeah. No.
He makes it all the way. Yeah, this guy, I would,
yeah.
It's really weird seeing touchdowns, because I know in the Patriots games the last few weeks we haven't really had those. So yeah, I mean, I watched this tape, Dad, and I asked the same questions, you're asking. It's like, where is this guy in those top two questions? What makes Drake May, better than this guy? I think I talked about this last week, but everyone's raving about Bo Nix. Bo Nix has 17 completions on over 20 yards. This guy has 17 touchdowns over 20 yards. Pretty awesome. Yeah. And he kind of runs the whole gambit here, right? We're seeing a lot of different plays. It's not like the same thing over and over again. He's throwing from the pocket. He's not running out when he doesn't have to, which I appreciate. Caleb Williams, I think.
Yeah, he does go pass first. Yeah.
Caleb Williams, oh man, perfect throw. Caleb Williams had a few times in his highlight reel. I'm like, I don't think he had to break the pocket there.
Yeah. No doubt. So, I mean, I'm sold on the kid too. So where we have him on, I mean, we'll get to Caleb Williams next week, and let me tell you something. He is really good too.
Yeah,
you will see.
He has some pretty cool plays.
He's not a poor man's Patrick Mahomes. He is Patrick Mahomes. That's what it feels like. I think he's going to be another Patrick Mahomes. If he's not going to be as good, he's going to be damn close. So, going to be an interesting discussion after we've reviewed all three of these guys and come away with the order we want them in. So, we'll definitely do that. And Matt, who we're hoping falls to the second round? You want to start? You want me to start with them?
Yeah. So I think you can start, because I think my dad has a bit more context into who he hopes. I still need to do a bit more research, but Dad, that second round pick, right? It might be 33rd overall, right? If we get our way, and Carolina wins a game, who are you hoping is there for the Patriots?
Another luxury about having terrible record is we pick super early in the second round. It's almost like having a second first round pick at the end of the round. So hope we're at 34 or 33, 34. The guy I am hoping for, his name is Amarius Mims. So this guy is a left tackle, absolute monster. He's projected to go from the middle of the first round to the early 20s. And the only reason why he's projected to go that far is he does have injury history. So my hope is, with the injury history, teams just get scared off at the last second. He slips to the Patriots at 33, 34, and we have our future left tackle, because this guy, from what they're saying, he comes from Georgia, and everyone knows Georgia is just a football factory. They just build players from the ground up, from scratch, out of clay, and they put magic dust on them, and next thing you know, they're like a professional football player. And this guy, he was so good that when he would come back from injury, the guys who were starting and excelling, they would be like, you have to sit, because we can't not play this guy. So this guy, he's an absolute monster. He's 6'7", 330. Again, some injury issues, bad luck. If he can kick those, he was projected by some people, from what I've read, to go in the top 5 if he didn't have an injury history. And I don't even have any footage on him. The only footage that there is on him is from high school, because he was so dominant in high school. There's not a lot. I got to dig and find some college footage on him, but I keep seeing him pop up in these mock drafts. So I did a lot of reading on him and research. And, from what I've read, if you can get this guy at 33, 34, what a steal that is. You have your left tackles that are so crucial in the NFL, and then your franchise quarterback from one of the three that we're going to get with the first or second or third pick. Man, that's a good start to rebuilding. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, and real quick, I'll touch on him. On your screen here, I have it's like a crowdsourced mock draft website, NFL mock draft database. We just found this website preparing for the podcast. Awesome. It kind of lists where CBS, and it very recent, and where he's slated to go. He is slated kind of in the mid first round. So like my dad said, he does fit that criteria of fingers crossed he slips to us. He's 6'7", does have some injury concerns. Maybe that lands him with the New England Patriots. I would absolutely love it. That's for sure. Yeah, I think for my guy, it's a bit tougher. I am so tired of the lack of separation, the lack of route running and sure hands that I know, like my dad knows, offensive lines are incredibly important. But I would really like for us to draft a wide receiver. So, I went looking, and one of the things I was looking for was sure hands. And the guy that I came across, his name was Xavier. He plays for South Carolina. He is already semi-projected to be, on that borderline of late first round, early second round. So he should technically be there. There's a lot of different websites that have him, with a 95 percentile for hands, right? That's like arbitrary ranking, but good hands, sure hands. He runs a 4.3 and he's big. I think he's 6'3", running a 4.3. Of course, they got the Chiefs going after him. Mahomes desperately needs a wide receiver. Would love to steal him from Mahomes. Getting him and getting Drake May would not be too bad for me. Fingers crossed here, but I would not be mad if what my dad said came to fruition and we actually do get a very solid offensive lineman. So this is going to be a lot of draft talk. It's going to be, I think, the most exciting draft of my life. I don't know about you, Dad. Maybe that Definitely. Drew Bledsoe draft.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Maybe in another episode, we'll go over what the old bull, experience back in when we drafted Drew Bledsoe and how the mania was back then. Cause I was still, I think, in diapers. So, well, just to date the old bull there. So yeah. Any final thoughts on this draft segment, Dad?
Yeah. Your guy is actually more realistic. He's projected to go in the second round in a lot of drafts, and it is supposed to be a deep wide receiver draft. So I wouldn't mind that guy either. If there's one thing that could help with a sketchy offensive line is guys that can get open fast. Look at Miami. Miami does not have a good offensive line at all. Their offensive line's trash. But you have two wide receivers that get open in a blink of an eye, and you get a quarterback who gets rid of the ball quick, and you can cover up for a trash offensive line. So I wouldn't mind that pick at all either.
All right. So that's our draft segment for this week. We're going to move on to segment number 2. And that's the Boston Celtics. Now we have a lot of thoughts on the Boston Celtics. Real quick, they are out of the in-season tournament, and that's a bittersweet thing. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't kind of up in the hype. I was very excited. The players are buying in. I think this is actually going to be something that matters in the coming years. It might not matter to the old bull. He's going to be one of those traditionalists, but we're out. And I think that's afforded us a long break. This is, I think, one of the longest breaks we've had this season. We're not going to Las Vegas. We came home from Indiana, and now we're resting, and now we're going to have a bunch of home games. So, bittersweet, everybody. You got to look on the bright side here. So next stop is the Banner 18, hopefully for the championship. And, while we were, having this last game, there's been a lot of talk about Jaylen Brown, right? And, his assists were high for some period of the season, and they dipped down. The last 2 games, he had 0 assists. And I actually think ESPN tweeted out something. He had 43 shots, 0 assists. I don't know if it was the last 2 or 3 games. It might have been the last 2 games. And Jaylen Brown, tweeted back at him and said, you guys are wrong for this. If you watch the game, you would know that Jaylen Brown, at least according to the advanced analytics, had 5 expected assists last game, but we just keep bricking them. Tatum went 6 for 6. He made 6 passes that were open, and according to the advanced analytics, should have been made, and they made them. Derek White, I think, had 9, and 8 of them. He had 9 expected, 8 makes, and JB had 5 expected, but people were not hitting those shots. So you really can't blame JB for that. But I mean, he's trying to facilitate more. He was running at a different speed in that Pacers game, and it really sucks he got in foul trouble early, because just like Jayden Daniels in that last segment, it was nobody could guard him. If he wanted to get to the hoop in that second quarter, he was getting there, and he was finishing. So I was really, really pleased by that. Any thoughts on that? Did you notice that?
Yeah, ESPN is basically the Felger and Maz of the big broadcast. Anything negative they can get their hands on, they're gonna run with it. So they don't mention that the analytics produce 5 assists that he should have had. He can't help it if the other guys missed the easy shot. That's not his fault. All he could do is make the pass. It's up to the guy after that to make it. And then what else is being looked over is, who is the guy he has had amazing chemistry with? It's Porzingis. Porzingis has been out, and those 2 guys have been clicking like they've been playing together for years. So he doesn't have that anymore, and it got me around to thinking we might have undersold how important Porzingis is, because my big take going in the season was watch the Celtics in the last 4 minutes of the game, where they've normally been garbage, and at the beginning of the year they were just as advertised, closing out games, putting their foot on the opponent's throat and finishing them off. And Porzingis is out, and we're back to struggling again. And it is so crucial we keep that guy healthy and rested for the playoffs. I guess he's coming back possibly Friday night. That's good. That means his cat injury wasn't serious. But man, I hope he is a legit 100%, not 98, not 99. I hope he's 100% with that calf. What do you think about that?
No, I totally agree. And it's something that I think we underappreciated, because there was a lot of complaints about us not blowing teams out. But one of the things I did appreciate is, unlike last year, when things got messy, we were winning. We were stiff arming some of these teams. Even though we did let them back in, even though they got a heartbeat, we were keeping these teams so that they would go on a run, but then we'd quiet them down. And that hasn't happened since Porzingis has gone. Of course, we did beat the 76ers, and that was kind of a close game, but I mean, they were missing Embiid and Maxey. So, to be honest, that should have been a blowout. But just thinking back, that Grizzlies game, we only beat them by 2. Porzingis was in there. Raptors game, another gritty game, Porzingis. I kind of miss those games. And I think I don't think you can watch that Pacers game and not think that Porzingis makes that a 10, 15 point Boston Celtics win. Kornet was making huge impacts, and that's with zero spacing, right? They were going small on us, and I miss him. I miss him a lot. And you said it, maybe we underestimated it. I don't think the old bull and young calf underestimated it. I think maybe the greater audience might have, because we are so freaking high on Porzingis. I think where we agree the most is the best Celtics team has a healthy Porzingis in its lineup, and we're favorites for the championship in those cases, right?
Absolutely. And, it just, to piggyback off that point you made, Matt, with Kornet being pretty dominant in Indiana, Matt and I are not big Missoula fans. And again, I feel like his shortcomings once again came out. Him, and you know what? Give the veterans on the team some flack for this too. How did nobody recognize during that Pacers game that, oh my goodness, they cannot even come close to stopping us at the rim? Anything we want to get as far as a short little mid-range jumper, no problem. Why in the world were they still jacking up 41 3-pointers? 41. Missoula, veterans on the team, have some damn awareness. Can you imagine if Porzingis did play in that game, the damage he could have did down low? Let me just give you some numbers really quick. They shot 41 3-pointers, the Celtics. They got 36 points from it. From 2-point land, they were 34 for 56, which is almost 70%. So let's say they took those 41 3-pointers and they drove to the hoop, took some mid-range. Let's say they don't even shoot close to 70%. Let's say they shoot just 60%. You know how many points that is for those 41 shots? 48 points as opposed to 36. It's 12
That's
more points, not to mention the free throws you'd get if you
oh my
drove to the
gosh,
hoop.
yeah.
Well, they only got 12 damn free throws the whole game because, again, they're jacking up all the 3-pointers. And here's some stats from 2-point land. Derek White was terrible from 3. Terrible. You know what he was from 2? 5 for 7. Jason Tatum was terrible. 2 for 8 from 3-point land. You know what he was from 2? 11 for 18. Jaylen Brown, 2 for 7 from 3. Not great. Guess what he was from 2? Jaylen Brown, 12 for 16. He
That's
literally could
absurd.
not be stopped from
They
2.
were getting everything they
Why is
wanted.
Missoula and those 3 guys not going, what the hell am I doing taking a 3-pointer in this game? I
Yep.
am just either
It's
slamming the
laziness.
ball in someone's face or I'm just going to take a little bunny jumper.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head, and it's just blatantly laziness. So I'm definitely not enthused by Missoula, and I think it's more of a hard headedness, right? And not wanting to correct the vets. But man, was that super disappointing. And I think what it turned into, and in some ways, especially with Tatum, was some amount of like a pissing contest, right? Halliburton was doing his thing. That guy blew me away. Very impressed by Halliburton. Kudos to him. He made some pretty impressive shots, but that doesn't mean we have to make those shots. Like my dad said, we were getting everything else we wanted, but Tatum felt like he needed to go toe to toe with Halliburton. Meanwhile, like my dad said, everyone else was shooting like 80% from 2. For some reason, we were still taking these garbage pull-up threes. Just because they're doing it, you're going to do it? So I did you notice that, Dad? That was just so infuriating.
Yeah. You made a great point off the air. The pissing contest. Why does he need to do that? He did it with, like you said earlier, too, with Anthony Edwards earlier in the year. Listen, sometimes the other star on the other team is just going to have more damn points. Play within the game. Do what it takes to win the game. Don't take it personal like, oh, their star is doing this. I get it. Win the damn game, Tatum. Do what it takes to win the game. Get 12 points and 15 assists if that's what it takes to win the damn game. That's,
Yep.
That's what I hope comes around with him. God, like 2 for 8 from 3. But here he is, 11 for 18 from 2.
Yep.
Jaylen Brown too. You guys are, and Derek White, you guys are veterans, man. Get a feel for the damn game. Once you realize they cannot stop you in the paint, just keep doing that. You'll get your points. Trust me, you'll get to 30 points if you do that. You just keep taking it to the rim or just keep pulling up for bunny little mid-range jumpers. So,
no,
but
totally agree.
Hey, we got bounced, and that means no Vegas, baby. We go back home where we play the Knicks, and we get like 4 days off in between, finally, and then we're home for like a week and a half. So I think we have 3 out of 4, 3 home games and 4 nights next week, which kind of aggravates me because that's again, I'm all about the rest in the house, but thank goodness we're not going to Vegas, battling the damn Bucks. What is it tomorrow? And then battling. We'll probably beat them because we have their number. Then we'd have to battle against the Lakers or
the
what is it? The
Pelicans.
Yeah, and yeah, is that all entertaining? Of course it is. You know what? Until someone breaks an ankle or at the end of the year when where their bodies are, how fatigued they are. We don't need that crap because it's just going to tax them. We don't need that. We need to go into the playoffs fresh. I've been preaching that, beating that drum all year.
Yep. Playoff intensity, that's what kind of has been, parroted by a lot of players. That's what they're feeling in those in-season tournaments. That's what they're Seeing it's like that's a minimum of what is it, 3 or 2 less playoff intensity games we got to play before we get to the actual stuff. So you get 4-day rest and all of it at home. I mean, we're at home from the 4th all the way until I think the 17th. So that's like almost 2 weeks at home.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm super. And a rested Tatum is a different Tatum. I think you can really notice it. And so hopefully, we see a better Tatum going forward. He kind of shakes this off. And yeah. And any final thoughts on the Celtics, Dad, before we move on?
No, I think that's it. We can go.
Yeah. All right, everybody. So we're going to go on to segment number 3, and that is the Boston Bruins. So, what I put for the notes for this segment is Bruins back on track, but defense continues to slack. Now, my dad corrected me. He's of the opinion that the defense has actually been better. He did my note was particularly for the game that I cared the most about in the past week, and that was the Toronto Maple Leafs. Gave up 40 shots. And, that game, I know, a lot of people say we should have won it in regulation, right? But I don't even know if we should have won it in regulation after watching some of the chances that were given up. And, a lot of the goals that they had was because we're being so soft on the puck when clearing. I don't watch, other hockey games, but whenever I watch the Bruins, the other team gets the puck, the F out of their zone, and the Bruins just don't, right? So, any hockey fans out there, please correct me if I'm wrong. I feel as if we are so bad at it. And, Dad, do you notice that? And as you're giving me your thoughts, I'm going to try and pull up a bit of a highlight reel I have on it. Have you noticed that? I know it goes back to last year's playoffs, right? The reason we got bounced.
Man, that has been plaguing the Bruins for years. That Stanley Cup run they had where they lost to St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
Every series, they just turning the puck over, having full control of it, not getting it out of the zone. And, again, the common denominator, Carlo, he's like a huge, how I feel about him. He's a big part of that. And, he's been on all those teams. And, Grzelcyk, he can be a turnover machine. McAvoy sometimes tries to do too much. I don't know what the heck happened to Lindholm. He was like
man.
He was like last year, the first half of the year, he was like in the Norris, like,
yeah, 100%.
I don't know what the heck is happening. Maybe because he got his big payday with the Bruins and he's like settled in. He needs to get back to what he was. But I mean, they did against Columbus and the Sharks. They did their job. You can tell they got a little bit of a talking to. They only gave up like I think 25 shots in one game, 26 in the other.
Yep.
And you're right, Matt. Toronto, they gave up 40, but it is at Toronto, and that is a high-powered offense team. I do cut them some slack.
One of the best offensive talented team in the league, yeah.
Oh, they're loaded, absolutely loaded. But where I am encouraged is their block shots have skyrocketed over the last 3 games, which is encouraging because they were not good. They were like 19th or 20th in the league in block shots, but they've been between 15 and 19 block shots a game over the last 3 games. So I'm definitely happy about that. And hey, they're back on a 3-game winning streak, and they get some cream puffs coming up. So hopefully you don't take them lightly, and we take care of business.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I made this short little highlight reel from the Leafs game. It was, man, just letting the puck get all the way through.
There. Just
Grzelcyk. Oh man, I have some notes on freaking Grzelcyk. And I talked to my buddy Andrew about this. Again, giving up. It's like got 4 guys around and they're getting 2 quality shots. We're not doing anything about that. Here we are. Nope, don't get the puck out of the zone. Oh, they got a really good chance there. Yep. And
10 bell saves are required.
Yep.
That's a lot.
Here we go. And two saves there, and then here comes McAvoy. Oh, no, you didn't get out of the zone, McAvoy, even though you had 2 of your players behind you. 3 saves, 4 saves, 5 saves. Like, what is that? Like, are you kidding me? And then, of course, here we go. 1 save. And then they get
another
freaking
goal in the last. And that's like the second time in a week they gave up a goal with like 5 seconds left. to put it in
Oh
words.
man,
Insane.
that was painful.
It
So,
is.
Again, they're on a 3-game win streak, right? Don't want to tear them down too much. But, I was talking to my buddy Andrew, and he was like, I'd really like to move Grizzlick, right? I'm like, good freaking luck. This guy has been so bad. So he's been back, I think, for 5 or 6 games. He's got 17 minutes of time on ice. Every single game except for one, he's been 0. So no plus at all. In the one game he wasn't 0, he was -2, and he has 0 points. And if you watch the highlights, you'll know that he should be negative, but the goalies are staying on their head, like my dad's mentioned in the past weeks, right? And that's why my dad wants to keep both goalies, right, Dad?
No.
No. Okay,
Not.
I thought I was going to get you.
Don't trigger me.
I thought I was going to get you. So I would love to move Grizzlick. Good luck finding a suitor. I think I don't know if he's restricted or unrestricted into the year, but he needs to step up. You mentioned Lindholm. My buddy Andrew mentioned to me, which defenseman do I think needs to step up the most? And Lindholm is by far and away the pound, like money for money, the money for performance. He's the worst on the Bruins. He's making the most and he's delivering the least. So yeah, no, I desperately want them to get these pucks out of the zone. Super disappointing to see guys like McAvoy with the puck on his stick and 2 Bruins behind him, and he does a weak little backhand, and they get it, keep in the zone, and they get a goal. Just egregious stuff, Any notes you have on the Bruins, Dad, or comments on what I just said?
It's been a plague going back 3 seasons in the playoffs. They just have trouble getting it out of their zone. The turnovers, even in the neutral zone. People don't overlook the neutral zone turnovers because those are huge too. Those turn into 2-on-1s, breakaways, or they turn into just the other team setting up in your zone for a scoring chance when you should be in the other end getting your own scoring chance. They're just careless with the puck. But meanwhile, we have Lowry, back in Providence, so Grizzly can play. Don't get me started on that again. I did a checkup on the Providence Bruins. God, it is, again, it just reinforces my take to get rid of one of the goalies to get offensive help in here. Lysol, their top prospect, 6 goals, 8 assists in 18 games. I mean, that's not bad if you're an NHL player, but when you're in the AHL and you're supposed to be the top forward prospect in your organization, you should be more than a point a game. So, man, I don't know if he's going to be able to help this year like I was hoping. I mean, with those numbers, they're probably not going to bring him up unless we get some serious injuries at forward or he goes on like a tear. But again, 3 goals against Columbus, 3 goals against San Jose. I know I keep harping on it. I really wish they would get like another top 6 forward in here. And and just rely on one goalie to do it. But I won't keep rehashing that. But hey, at least they got back on the winning track. They got 3 teams they should beat coming up, and hopefully they take care of business there and tighten up their game a little bit on defense. But I am encouraged with the uptick in block shots. So that means they're trying more. They're sacrificing themselves a little more. So hopefully they keep going in that direction. Rebounds given up. I didn't see their numbers in their last 3 games, but hopefully they're buckling down on that. But like you said, though, the scoring chances there was quite a bit in that Toronto game.
Yeah, no, and I think you mentioned buckling up that defense. At the end of the games, I did have this other stat I'll share real quick. They're the NHL worst. 6 goals when the opponent pulls their goalie. That is so many goals. Montgomery it was brought up. Yeah, it was brought up, I think, at Skate today, and Montgomery responded that, hey, we also lead the NHL by 9 minutes in those situations. So it's a, testament to us putting those games, in those positions and, drawing a lot of those drawn goalies. But man, we got to okay, Montgomery, if we're exposed to it more, then figure out something, because giving up 6 goals, that doesn't make up for the 9 additional minutes. I was there for the Ducks game when we blew that. I was really worried we were going to do it for a 3rd time this season, because I know we've done it with the Ducks. We did it. I don't know what the other team was. Was it the Lightning or somebody? And then we almost did it here. We almost did it here because, Marchand saved the day. So, would love that.
Zaka
Yep.
Zaka tried to pass it out for an empty net goal instead of just getting it out.
Yep.
And the Lightning literally scored 3 seconds later with 5 seconds left on the clock.
Yep. Yeah. And like my dad said, we're home against Buffalo, home against Arizona. Really got to win those games. And then we're going away to New Jersey. Hopefully we, by the time you hear this next podcast, we're up 3-0. And, some of our guys kind of snap out of it, especially our defensemen. So yeah, I think that's
man, Marchand's been back on a tear. So
yeah.
The captain, the little weasel, he's been going strong. So that's good to see. That's for sure.
Yeah, super, super exciting. And, and I will say the trade deadline for hockey is not until March 20th, March 20 something. So, I know my dad wants to move those goalies, but at this point, it almost looks like we should milk these goalies for quite a bit more time and get, rack up some of these wins. So, because they are stealing some games for us, especially against these better teams. Now, I think we could probably move into segment number 4. Wilg's Basement Bets. So our betting expert, Anthony Wilga, has decided to just, cut all the BS and just get you the money, right? Easy money. Last week, a game, Eagles, San Fran, nobody's touching that game, but the Wilg's Basement Bets had a inside scoop, and the freaking San Francisco 49ers, I mean, they were covering that spread, almost from the jump. They took Philly to school. They really proved to Philly that, hey, if last year in the playoffs, Brock Purdy was there, it would have been a different game. And I think Philly kind of got punched in the mouth. So he won that. Anthony has another game for us this week. So let's take a look at what Anthony's got.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another week of Wilg's Basement Bets. Won our lock last week. This week we're going one play again, one lock. It's going to be the Browns at home -2.5 versus the Jags. Trevor Lawrence is even playing. We don't know. Maybe. Joe Flacco actually looks pretty good last week. So we're going to trust the Browns defense. And let's win some money this week. Let's get it.
All right. Thanks, Ant. Dad, you got any thoughts on that lock?
He's 3 out of his last 4 locks of wins. So, he's picking up steam at the end of the year. So jump on that Anthony bandwagon.
Yes. Yeah. And, it's crazy what the NFL is turning into. It's the battle of the backup quarterbacks. I don't know what is in the water this year. Again, it's like the Super Bowl was prime for the taking because they're dropping like freaking flies. So it does suck that we all have to go to segment 5, jump in the tank, and look around the NFL and figure out what the Patriots have to do to secure the first overall pick, despite like half of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL being injured. We have 2, basically, 2 starting quarterbacks, and sadly, both of them are healthy. I don't know why some of that juju can't come over here and hit our guys, but here we are. So, let's take a look at the schedule. All right, so we got the schedule in front of us. Our commander-in-chief, Frank the Tank, is going to take us through what are the big money games this week for us, Dad, and the Patriots in their draft position.
Well, first off, the good news from last week. We had a surprise major upset by the Cardinals at Pittsburgh. Huge situation because now they have 3 wins. Patriots only have 2, so that we don't have to worry about tiebreakers at the moment with the Cardinals. And another hidden little bonus out of that, Pittsburgh, who is a playoff team, coming off a loss, an embarrassing loss at home.
True.
And guess who they have at home tomorrow? They have the Patriots at home tomorrow. So hopefully they're pissed and ready to go, and they come out and they work the crap out of our Patriots, get us to a nice little, 2-11, 2-10, to whatever it is.
2-11. It'll be 2-11. Yep.
Absolutely. So fingers crossed there. Panthers, unfortunately, the new coach Serge did not help out for us. I think it was a close game. I can't remember what it was, but they did not come through with a win, unfortunately. So yeah, checking out this week. Unfortunately, the Cardinals have a bye, so we don't have them to monitor. One less game, in reverse playoff situation we're in. One less game to follow. Unfortunately, they have a bye, I guess you would call it, playoff bye. So, but where is Carolina? That's a team we're looking at the most. Oh my God, one win, one
All we
win.
need.
You know
And
what?
they don't even have their pick. Like, come on, guys. You got this.
I know. Win a damn game. Hey, you know what, Matt? If we only had one less win of our own for the Patriots, if only one of our two wins was a game that we had no business winning and we just lost. Oh, wait, against Buffalo. Of all games, we
Yep.
decided to show up and Mac Jones decides to be good. Great job there, idiots.
Yep.
So anyway, they're at the Saints. Saints aren't world beaters, but their defense is good. I mean, it's not impossible, but I don't like this situation here. It doesn't look good for the Carolina picking up a win this week, but it's not, hey, it's not like they're playing against San Francisco on
Yeah.
the road.
And they had a
They're
close
playing
game.
against the Saints.
Yeah.
They did.
Last time they played the Saints, it was 20-17. They were really close. Derek Carr he's in concussion protocol. He's got a rib injury and he's got a shoulder injury. So big game for everybody. Keep an eye on that. What other games do we got there that are important for us?
Is some hope there. The Bears, 2 games ahead of us. We get a nice little cushion on them. But again, if they get one more win, that basically eliminates us from them being able to leapfrog us.
Yep.
Yeah. So, we just need one more win from those guys this season, and we won't have to worry about them. They're playing a tough Lions team at home. Probably not going to happen, but hey, watch that one. Root for the Bears. And I don't know, Matt. Is that all we have? Is there anyone else?
I think so.
3 or 4 wins?
I think so. I mean, there's a lot of 4-win teams,
Here we go.
but
The Titans, going to Miami, they get, probably not going to win that game, unfortunately. But, the Titans get one more win, and then we probably don't have to worry about them. The Giants, we have to worry about them less because, like we touched on last week,
tiebreaker.
we have the reverse tiebreaker against them. So that's good. We're technically 3 games ahead of them, even though they only have 2 more wins than us. So they're at home. Green Bay's kind of hot. Probably not going to beat them. But hey, look what the Cardinals showed us last week. Pretty big underdogs, like a touchdown underdog going to Pittsburgh, and they came away with a big surprise, shocking win. So, follow these games. Root for the other garbage pail kid teams in the league, like the Patriots, to win. While of course we root for our boys to lose. And let's get one of those 3 quarterbacks in here. So, any thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. And it's pretty nice how comfortable, some of this is getting. So hopefully we keep it that way, and we don't eke out anything. And what we talk about as well is when it does get to the nitty gritty, it's important to have a bad strength of schedule. You want it to look like you faced very bad opponents and you still found a way to lose, right? So these first 2 games don't matter to us because we don't play them and they don't play us. And then, of course, the Colts and Bengals, it'd be great to see the Colts lose here. We want the Colts to lose, make them look like a worse team. And that'll, of course, make us look like a worse team because we lost to them. And then nothing for the Browns and Jaguars. We don't play either of those teams. Texans, Jets. It'd be great to see the Jets lose. Maybe see them win one because, again, they're at that 4-game. Yeah, they're at that 4-game threshold.
We beat them earlier this year. Yeah, so I forgot about that. We beat them earlier. So we're technically only 1 win ahead of them.
So that's dangerous.
We end up tied. Yeah, that is dangerous.
Yeah, so hopefully the Jets themselves and find a way to beat the Texans. The Raiders, it'd be great to see the Raiders lose. 49ers and Seahawks, this game doesn't matter to us. Chiefs and Bills, that game's a toss-up, really doesn't matter. Broncos, Chargers, same thing, doesn't matter. And then Eagles, Cowboys, played them both. And then down here, my dad touched on, we'd like these 4-win teams to kind of get a little bit of a boost. So, this, every time we do the segment, it feels weird. It doesn't feel right. But here we are. Yeah.
You got to do what's best for the team. Like boy Belichick says, you got to do what's best for the team. What's best for the team, people, trust me, is the Patriots are as bad as possible. got to get that top draft pick.
Yeah.
Got to be able to clean house, get them, start fresh. We need a fresh start bad.
Listen, and if we were like, people will poop on us, right? There's people like, oh, I could never root against the Patriots, never do this. All right, shut up. I mean, there's very few people in the world that care more about the Patriots than my dad and I. I know we have a lot of huge fans as well, right? It sucks. My dad and I would much rather be rooting for a playoff team. We're going to have a highlight segment at the end of the year, of kind of our takes and different things. And you'll see that both my dad and I thought super high on the Patriots. We wanted this team to succeed. And now we're just thinking, how can we see winning football as soon as possible? Last week, since the last podcast, I was watching a clip of the Miami Dolphins celebrating a touchdown. And they did like this roller coaster thing. And my son looks over my shoulder. He's like, what are they doing? I'm like, they're celebrating a touchdown. He's like, oh, yeah, a touchdown. My boy hasn't seen a touchdown in weeks. I mean, that's a good percentage of his life. And it's absolutely embarrassing. And, one of these stats I showed my dad, but the Patriots are giving up. In the last 4 weeks, they gave up 46 points. That leads the NFL. They are the best scoring defense in the NFL in the last 4 weeks. And they are 0-4. The next best is 49 by the 49ers. So they've given up 3 more points, and they've won all 4 of their games. Oh my gosh, clear house. This is just so embarrassing. If it's not intentional, I don't know. It is ineptitude on a level I've never been able to comprehend. So, yeah, Dad, any final thoughts on the Frank the Tank Commander?
Yeah, no, listen, I'm proud of you this week, Matt, because normally, you and your takes are like, a shack of hillbillies. And, this here is an apartment of learning sports doctors. Okay.
You and your mom are hillbillies. This is a house of learned doctors. You're not a doctor. You're a big, fat, curly-headed. Oh, yeah?
And you did a good job of hanging with the old bull,
Yeah.
and
I want to get in the family business, as
good.
a doctor. I want to get in the family business. Yeah.
There might be hope for you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You get a connection, with the old bull. I might get you a job as a, orthopedic doctor or something like that.
Yeah. That's how that goes. Yeah. No, I think you and I saw eye to eye on a lot of this stuff. It was really fun.
We did. Not much debate. Yep.
Yeah. It's, and hopefully the audience, if you feel differently, let us know in the comments, let us know anywhere. We always love to hear your opinions. If there's, stats read in, we'll kind of talk about, something you share. Don't be shy. A few of my buddies send me texts every so often. If there's anything you want explicitly said on the podcast, I will say it. If it includes swears, I will have to bleep it out because, again, we are pursuing that Disney money and we are looking for sponsors. So, Disney, reach out. It's So no swears on the podcast. So, that's I think that's the podcast, Dad. Any final thoughts?
No, the old bull's computer is about to die because it's run out of batteries, and so am I. So, thanks for watching, everybody, and please share if you can.
Yes. Good night, everybody. See ya. Bye-bye.